you're going to learn the philanthropy of the poor. They have so much to give.
Of heaven, it is yours, my friend. You have a Father watching, it is God Himself who loves and cares for you. Rejoice if there are enemies, they'll be your friends. Rejoice with all the strangers, we will welcome them. The love of God is greater than the mighty seas. Without you we cannot be.
Good day and welcome to our program, The Church and the Poor. My name is Father Hayden Augustine of the Missionaries of the Poor, and we have today in our audience 3 members from St. Thomas,
Our Lady of Pity
Our Lady of
Parish.
Pity Parish in Staten Island, New York, Father Thomas.
That's right.
And Joe and Steve.
Yes.
And Father Tom has brought a team of 5 men, and we'll see them later on. And we have some other men from Long Island, and we have one lone lady. Blessed are you among men. And we will talk to Mary later on from Pennsylvania. Joe, is it your first time to Jamaica?
I began coming to the mission in 2005,
Mm-hmm.
and have been coming once or twice a year ever
Really?
since.
Oh,
Yes.
that often. What brought you here the first time? What was the...
I believe in 2004, it was Father Holong came to our parish and did a 3 or 4 day parish mission
Okay,
And
Our Lady of Pity.
at Our Lady of Pity Church.
Okay,
Yes,
mhm.
and at that time he invited people to come down, visitors to come down to the mission,
Right,
and I took his invitation. And
yes.
Came down for the first time, not really know what
You
to
got hooked.
expect,
Uh-huh.
and got hooked. As
Yes.
with many of us, got
Good,
hooked.
good. And you brought others with you, it seems.
Every time we come down, we try and bring somebody
Yes,
new
good,
to
good.
really.
And how has
experience
it been this time?
It's been great.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a new pastor in our church, and
Right. That's Father Tom.
that's Father Tom,
Mhm.
and we're fortunate to be able to bring him here for the
Yes.
experience, and it's
Mhm.
been wonderful.
Great, great, great. What has been different from the other trips you have made on this trip? What has struck you as different from the other trips? Or is it a sort of routine now?
It's not routine, and,
No.
and the reason for that is I think in each year of a life we're in a different place spiritually,
Mhm,
and
yes.
because of that, each time the experience is different.
Different.
So it's always a different experience.
Really?
It's always a way to become closer
Great,
to
great.
Jesus.
Father Tom, you're a pastor of Our Lady of
Our Lady of Pity Church, yes.
Yes. Where is this, Father Tom?
This is on Staten Island, New York.
Mhm.
I'm relatively new there.
Yes.
And just before coming to Staten Island, I was director of priest personnel for the Archdiocese of New York.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the roles that I had was meeting several international priests
Yes.
coming from third world countries to
Yes.
work and serve in the Archdiocese of
Right,
New York.
right.
And so in coming down here, it helped me to realize just the contrast of the two different cultures, two different worlds, you know, and to see, you know, again, they have very generous spirits, but we're very fast-paced living New Yorkers, you know, and
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
helping them to get adjusted was part of my role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your first trip to
This is my first trip to Jamaica.
Jamaica, but first trip to a third world nation, for instance, or you've been to other places?
I've been to Mexico
Mm-hmm.
on a trip, and that was wonderful
Right.
as well.
And how has this trip been? This trip to
Phenomenal. I mean, it's just, again, the things that I saw myself doing, shaving, washing, cleaning people.
Oh, you've been to the centers.
Been to the
Can
centers.
you describe that?
Oh,
What
my
have you been
gosh,
doing?
yeah.
Which
Well,
center have you been to?
We first of all went to the Lord's Center,
Lord's Place.
and the Lord's Place,
Mhm.
and meeting the gentlemen who with AIDS and helping them, you know, coming out of the showers, get dressed, and then, you know, very gingerly and carefully trying to shave them, you know, and get them ready and prepare for the lunch meal. But what was delightful was to see how the brothers gathered everybody at around 11 o'clock for prayer and praise and worship, and how they truly do listen to God's word and the feedback when the brothers were asking that. I found that very fascinating and wonderful.
Who's that man who hears us more? Blessed are the mournful, you will laugh, for I am yours. Who's that man who loves and meek? Blessed are the meek, he said, for they'll possess the earth. Fire, 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 come and dwell in my soul. He suffered and he died but he rise up high on the cross. Spirit, enter your kingdom, yeah. Spirit, enter my soul. Hallelujah. Spirit, enter your kingdom, oh. Spirit, enter my soul. Who's that man?
And your fellow parishioner, Steve?
Steve.
Yes. You're from Our Lady of Pity also.
I am, yes.
Your first trip?
No, this is my third trip.
Oh, your third
I
trip.
took a pause. I came down in 2006, and I think it was 2007.
Okay.
Took a pause, and this is my first time down in a while. It's my third trip.
And how has it been?
It's been fabulous. The brothers are such an inspiration. It's really to see them work, their faith and their dedication has been just amazing. It always is.
Right. And you've been staying at the monastery?
We've been saying...
at the brothers' monastery?
Yes, yeah.
And how is that? How is the rhythm of life?
Everything is centered around prayer, which is wonderful, and everything stems from that. Watching the brothers work in harmony and just so much peace, it's very inspiring.
Okay. And then the centers, you have worked at the centers?
I've been to all of the centers, not this trip, but from past trips. This time it was Faith Center and Good Shepherd so far, and it's just the people are just wonderful, and I grow from that just being there.
Yes. What striking experience have you had? You that would sort of
just the humbleness
stand in
of
your mind.
all the people. They're all so thankful and just happy that we're there, and it's very inspiring to see. Well, the people they're just very happy with the basics of life, and it's nice to see just everybody's happy with the simplicity here, which is great.
Father Tom, Pope Francis has talked about touching the flesh of the poor as touching Christ. That statement has been made. I mean, it comes out of the incarnation, of course.
It does.
But just the way he says it strikes you as something different. How can you identify with that in terms of your experience here?
I guess my experience has been, in all the ministry that I've done in parish work, I don't think I've ever been given privy to shaving somebody, feeding someone, and that is a sense of intimacy, and the way they look up to you, and many can't speak, but they're so expressive in their eyes, and that's another. It's just love begetting love, as St. John says, and I just see that Pope Francis has that. I had a unique opportunity last year to be in Rome when he was elected.
Oh, really?
And what an exciting moment that was, and maybe a week or two afterwards, when he was, I guess it must have been Holy Week. The largest Mass I think I've ever celebrated was on Chrism Mass on Holy Thursday, and there were 1,200 priests. And to gather at the Eucharistic banquet table with the Holy Father was a thrill of a lifetime.
Really,
it was great.
Joe, what do you think of the present Holy Father and his call to enflesh this Christ in the poor, in your work with the poor?
One of the, as Father had mentioned, we live a very fast-paced life in New York City. And one of the things that Pope Francis had mentioned is that we need to empty ourselves to allow ourselves to be filled with Christ. And when we come to the mission, we're able to empty ourselves. The brothers, of course, are always an inspiration. They take care of our food, our shelter, and going to the centers, because we've allowed to empty ourselves, we can allow ourselves to be filled with Christ. And we definitely see the face of Christ in the residents. Wonderful. The brothers are true disciples of Christ. They're purely an inspiration. And one of the most impressive things is actually seeing the residents of the centers take care of each other. The ones that are able to, they look after each other, they feed each other, they really help each other, they know their needs. And that's truly inspiring.
Great. Steve, you're a family man.
Yes.
What would you say to your family when you go back?
I'd like them all to come.
Have they come?
They have not yet. They're all in college.
Okay.
But my children have said they would like to come. So
Great.
it's just getting that time that when they have available to come
Yes,
down.
yes.
But yeah, I have 2 daughters and a son, and they'd all like to come down. And my wife is a nurse, so she would work out perfectly.
Okay.
So I think in the near future, hopefully they'll all have the experience, at least once.
Yes,
I would like
yes.
them to do that.
And what would you say to other fathers of families? We know that family life is under tremendous stress these days. In relation to your experience here, what advice would you give?
A couple of things strike me,
Yes.
and what I would say is that I think all the children from, people from New York, for the most part, have some money, and they just don't. I don't think they appreciate what they have. And to come down here and to have, that's why I want my children to come down to really appreciate what they have. Family life, they have grandparents that are still there that support them. They have, mother and father, and they have themselves, and they have a nice life. And I think that it's they should appreciate that and be able to and want to come down and give back.
Father Tom, what would you advise your fellow New York priests?
I would love to ask them to come down, not only to experience the poor, but also to preside at Eucharist and look at the faces of the brothers, the young brothers, and to see in them the zeal and the hope and the love of Christ when they come to prayer and worship. That's very inspiring to us who have been ordained for a long time, just to see that those who are following behind us are just on fire with the love of the Lord, and that was very, very moving. And I think the rhythm of, as you say, the rhythm of life, to come and gather for midday prayer, to gather for rosary and Stations of the Cross and even night prayer, that sustains you throughout the day. You come to realize that only with Christ could you have the courage to go into something like this,
Together, work together, struggle together, serve each other, love one another, strengthen each other, serving each other in God's love.
Well, Father Tom, you brought some other guys with you from
I
the
did,
parish.
yes.
Can we meet them now?
Sure, go right ahead.
Let's get the... Okay. The man with the mic.
Gene Boccieri, 40-year member of Our Lady of Pity in Staten Island. They mentioned Satan keeping you away from here. Well, Joe Maclioka has been trying to get me to come here since he first came, when he came back. And every year I found the excuse. Business, I own my own business. I use business, I assume, as an excuse, or other social events as an excuse, family.
Responsibilities.
I was blessed in life with parents that always taught their children to give back and to love Jesus.
Wonderful.
I gave back, but in other ways. I was a manager in baseball. It's in the States for 20 years with little kids. I gave a lot of time to the church, president of the Holy Name Society, etc. Finally, Joe wore me out. And this year
wasn't easy.
This year I had my family pray for me that I'd still have enough courage to come down. And it was fear. It was fear of how I would respond to the poorest of the poor. I found it relatively easy. Maybe the prayers that were said for me.
Definitely.
But just looking, as Father said, into their eyes, and you could see Christ slowly when you first go over to an individual, could be in a wheelchair, they could be bent over, and some of them, can't respond. But others, after showing compassion and your love, Christ's love to them, they respond in a way that is so spiritual within one that I felt that I've gone on many retreats, Trappist retreats in different parts of our United States, but never felt as close to Jesus Christ as with these individuals. And just giving them love and tender care, clothing, shaving, fine, but it's that closeness to Christ's children. I'm a child of Christ, they're a child of Christ, and meeting them on this personal basis, and seeing that by the time you give them 5 minutes, that they keep hugging you, they don't want you to leave, they squeeze your hand. It has brought Christ very strong into my heart.
My name is Dominic Morrow. I'm from Our Lady of Pity, Staten Island, New York, and I don't know, it's just an inspiration for me to come here. Every year. I started on Joe's second trip. He convinced me to come down, and I've been coming ever since. It's just, I've bonded with so many people here. It's inspirational. I can't say anything less. Just to repeat what all these gentlemen said already. When I came on my first trip, I'll be truthful. I walked in, I think it was Faith Center, and it got me. I was almost ready to get on the plane and come home, but then they came over to me. Some of them hugged me and all, and I just went along, and I felt that I belong here. God wants me here for whatever reason. And then the second day I went to Bethlehem. That convinced me. When I saw the children, they just tore my heart apart. And the brothers, I find them so inspirational, so dedicated. All these young men, really young men, dedicating themselves to Jesus and to the poor. It's wonderful. I just can't say any more.
I'm not from Staten Island. I'm one of the people from Long Island.
Yes.
And I've had the good fortune of, you sort of alluded to it before, I'm here for my first visit, absolutely because my son, who's been coming 4 or 5 years with Joe, has been after me to come. Come on, Dad, let's... And honestly, I always put a hurdle up. Yeah, I always made an excuse. I won't lie to you. But this time I said, no, it's about time. It's about time. And this has been an extraordinary couple of days for me, not the least of which is to be able to share this with my son. And I heard all of the stories. He told me the names of some of the brothers that I would perhaps meet, some of your residents, and it's been even more than I thought. Okay. Moving, spiritual, transformative.
Wonderful, wonderful.
As a matter of fact, I already said to him,
I
think I want to do this again next year.
Yes.
Just
that's great.
Wonderful.
Sing to the Lord sing to the Lord.
My name is Steve Perez, and I'm from Long Island. I came down 5-6 years ago, possibly. I actually came down with a separate group. I actually wasn't convinced by Joe to come down. I met Joe and his team while down here. And it just so happened that I seemed like, I had a lot in common with Joe and Tim and Dominic, and we just really hit it off. And I believe Steve was on that first trip when I met these guys. And we just really hit it off, and I kind of bonded with these guys.
Yes.
Coming down here was just life-changing for me. What inspires me is the brothers. And like Timmy said, we come down here, we do it a couple hours a day for 5 days, and we go home and we go back to our lives. The brothers here do it all day, every day, all year.
By the grace of God,
By the grace of God, yeah. And my first time around, I said to these guys, I said, man, there's a lot of praying. It's prayer. Wow, it's a lot of praying. But now I understand why, and I truly do. And I'm not sure if it was Joe that had mentioned it, and the prayer, or maybe it was Father Tom. The prayer truly is what gets you guys through the day.
Divine energy.
It's absolutely the truth, and it gets you through the day and gets you to the next center and to the next center, and you need that. You need that prayer to get you closer to God, and God's going to get you through the next day and to the next day you need it. You truly need it, and it's inspirational watching some of these brothers go and go. I mean, I think the average age around the brothers here makes me look old. Some of these brothers are so young and just so dedicated, and it's truly, truly inspirational, And what I bring home is just joy, and it fills me up going back home, and it's inspirational.
Well, that approach to our lives, I think, applies to everybody.
Exactly.
I think all of us need it, really. I think that's the great pity of our Christian situation, that all Christians, at least all Christians, need that energy to live their lives, because life is a cross. And I think many of us give up because we don't have the grace of God to see us through difficult marriages or difficult jobs or relationships or situations.
I think one of the struggles is that back home, we have a lot of material things that get in the way, and it becomes distractions to prayer. So it really becomes a battle for prayer to try to pray in a very highly technical world where you can try and escape in so many other different ways, but never come to Christ. Here you have nothing but Christ, and you need Him more, but He also shows Himself more powerfully. And I think that would be a very important piece to and literally energize a parish, the power of prayer.
Well, Jesus says, no man doesn't live by bread alone.
Amen.
And of course, that bread doesn't mean just physical bread for our bellies, but the material things get in the way.
Yes.
We just have too much. We just don't need all those things, all that stuff.
That's
we
right.
just don't need them.
That's right.
But anyhow, we learn, and you teach. We teach and we learn from each other. Now, Mary, blessed are you among men. Mary has been coming for how many years?
This is my 16th year.
16th year.
Yes.
Wow.
And like some people, I came down thinking it was going to be a one-time trip. To be very honest, the first day I walked into a center, I said, I will be back every year. And over the course of the time, my time has grown to be longer visits and different things. Residents have become not only friends, but family, because you get to know them and you miss them, and they know you when you come back. And I'm sure people that have been here only once, when they come back, they're surprised that the residents know them.
Yes.
For me, it's hard to explain. People have said to me, why do you go to Jamaica for so long? Why do you do this? And I said, I can tell you forever, but until you're there and you see the people, you see the brothers. When I come, I live your life. I follow all the prayers. I don't eat meat during Lent. That kind of thing. And it's extremely fulfilling. It's something that people think they can't do. But it's really very, very easy, because what you give is very little compared to what you get back.
Yes,
And
true.
I'm very grateful to ever have found MOP.
Thanks, Mary, for your testimony. Thanks, my dear fellow Christians, for sharing with us your encounter with Jesus in the poor. Continue being on pilgrimage with us and bring others from Our Lady of Pity and from Pennsylvania and from Long Island, New Jersey. Is it New Jersey? Yes. New Jersey. And all over, anywhere, all over the States, to share this journey of love and compassion, the Beatitudes with us. Thank you for viewing us on The Church and the Poor.